Hey guys, I'm actually going to start by reading a few stats for you. 79% of the electricity in Sydney comes from coal. 45 huge truckloads of coal gets combusted every day. 30 huge trucks of waste get sent to landfill every day. 37 Olympic swimming pools get sucked out of dams every day, all just for the CBD. There's a better way. Hey, I'm Ross. I'm actually an enthusiastic and optimistic guy. My background is engineering and finance. I work with the financial viability of self-sufficiency, so net positive buildings, 100% renewable energy strategies, water neutrality and zero waste. So I've been really lucky since the age of I studied in Stockholm and then got a job with the guy who started the World Green Building Council at the age of 22. Worked on projects all over the world. The one you probably know here, I spent 2 years on Central Park, Sydney. Basically, I lived in Sweden, London, Mexico, Berlin, Sydney, and now I'm based in Melbourne. And probably for 10 years I've been punching numbers on the financial viability of self-sufficiency. And it's usually not the barrier, actually. Humans are usually the barrier. But pretty much every one of these projects that I've worked on has been a bit of a failure. But I've maintained my enthusiasm. I'm not too sure that I've had any success, but I guess success is a measure of, to me, giving something back. And I hope that one day I can actually achieve something on these projects. So this is basically what we do. We look into all kinds of environmental initiatives and compare them against each other, from energy, water, waste, food and transport, and then advise different people on from houses to city blocks, from concepts to operations, on what's possible and where they can go. So, by the way, I'm about to plough through 70 slides, so brace yourselves. But yeah, we basically do a lot of numbers, but then we acknowledge that humans are 50% of the barrier. So, and our purpose is imagining transforming cities from consumers to producers, basically. And what would you say if I told you this was inevitable? So basically, if you're born today, this is what resources are left for you, or born in 2010. So there's 40 years of oil left, 65 years of 40 years of oil, 65 years of gas, 85 years of uranium, and 130 years of coal left. So give or take a couple of decades, it's all gone in 2 lifetimes, basically. So, don't freak out though, it's not a problem, it's an opportunity. So basically, as finite resources become more and more, less and less abundant, they become more and more expensive. As the technology that embraces infinite resources improves, it's becoming more and more cost effective. So we're right now in a renewable equilibrium where the good stuff is becoming cheaper than the bad stuff, basically, which is kind of exciting. Yeah. So you'll see it, solar's, increasing, all kinds of things are starting to happen, but it's still happening too slowly. The other thing is that you'll see even management consulting firms like Deloitte are saying that people want this for the future. So in effect, from my point of view and a lot of people's point of view, it's inevitable that we're heading in this direction, but it's still happening too slowly. And so from all of my failures, I've decided to focus purely on examples and trying my best to help create examples, not 10% better, not a little bit more efficient, not a little bit better, but the full shebang. So I'm going to start by giving you a few examples of cool things that are happening around the world, and then I'm going to show you some stuff that we're doing at the moment. I've got past projects, but I wanted to show you some stuff that's happening right now. Germany went from 4% to about 40 to 50% renewable energy in a decade. Hamburg is a really cool example. South Australia, I went away for 8 years and came back and it went from 4% to 50% renewable energy. The Carbon War Room and the Rocky Mountain Institute have connected up. Richard Branson is basically transforming islands in the Caribbean to be 100% renewable. They're spending millions on it. It's not talk, it's actually happening. In California alone, 250 net positive buildings have popped up in the last 2 years. This is a house I went to go visit in Queenstown, net positive, 5 kilowatt solar system, enough excess power to charge the car for 50 k's a day. Doesn't have a heating system, it's just well designed. This is a project we work on in Switzerland. It's the 5th biggest ski resort in Switzerland. We work with them on energy, water, waste, food and transport, but particularly their energy strategy is going really well. They've introduced 10 small-scale hydroelectric power plants and are about to install 3 wind turbines. It's a really beautiful place. We're working with them on this building on the mountaintop to make it self-sufficient. And this is them installing a solar system. I just saw this picture come through today. So basically, they are able to transform to renewable energy with a 10-year payback period. Okay, so this is, A, it's what their consumers want, B, it's good for their bank account. We did a strategy with the City of Yarra, which for me was a bit of a failure, but I'll show it to you anyway because it's kind of cool. But we basically created a vision for a quarter of Melbourne on how they could go to 100% renewable energy. This is rooftop solar systems, community solar systems, a zany concept for where they could put wind turbines, hydroelectric power plants, anaerobic digesters in the city, biomass in the city, connecting humans with technology, not hiding it away. We went through and analysed all the buildings and all the technology, and to get to zero carbon, it was required 41% in energy efficiency and 59% in renewable energy. This is a project we're working on in New Zealand. It's doing everything. Wooden building, no concrete, 100% renewable energy, zero waste, water neutral, makes sense financially. The coolest thing about this is using closed-loop showers. So 50% of a hotel or an apartment building is for heating hot water. You put a closed-loop shower and it uses 90% less water and 90% less heat. So I'm showing you these examples because there's just countless examples of how cost-effective it all is. Okay, so this is another apartment building we're working on at the moment. These things are happening right now. Wooden apartment building in Collingwood. Net positive strategy was going to cost per apartment another $20,000 per apartment, net positive energy and water. 5% total increase on the project. 10-year payback period. Another project, 10-year payback period. Okay, it keeps happening. It's more cost effective than putting your money in the bank, basically. So this is not about energy, this is about waste. Well, they're doing energy too, but it's a hotel we're working with in Queenstown, but we helped a little hotel go zero waste by going through their bins, which was pretty fun. There was a fair bit of dry reaching involved. But it was probably the most time-effective thing I've ever done, because in 2 hours I helped a hotel go zero waste by just us all confronting the situation together. So that led on to us getting approached by Monash University. So now we're working with them on their zero waste strategy because plastics are no longer recyclable in Australia. Monash is the largest university in the Southern Hemisphere, 60,000 students, 6,000 staff. So this is the strategy basically in one image, but pretty much currently 80% of the waste is going to landfill. 40% of that is organic waste, which we'll be generating energy with on site. Now I'm going to finish by telling you about a little stunt that we pull, which is called Off the Grid. And it's a cultural intervention which is designed at empowering people to change the way cities work. It's a solar-powered celebration dedicated to transforming the way the cities we live in. So basically, we rock up with a battery bank and some solar panels, and we started throwing a techno party in Melbourne. That techno party became a conference, and the Royal Institute of Architects got on board. And then that conference got support from State Government of Victoria, and we're slowly building it up to the point that this year we're actually aiming to install. We figure that batteries and solar are a bit obvious now, so we're actually going to try and fill up a balloon with biogas and in the centre of Melbourne try and power an event on anaerobic digester. So yeah, but I mean the point being that we need to put this technology in front of people, not hide it. Now I'll finally just close on the idea that what would speed things up, because my point of view on the topic is that we need humans to be involved to speed it up, and that will dramatically accelerate the process. If everyone understood the same information, it would just happen overnight. But one thing that I think would really help things is if we mandated for all new buildings to be net positive, basically. Thanks very much.